Hey there, my name is Wayne, and welcome to the very first episode of our Dynamic podcast, where we will dive into insights for music creatives. I've been thinking about this for a long time, and finally I've decided 2025 is the year to kick off this podcast. Now, in this episode today, we will look into the world of music creation to answer the question, what is music composition? And also answering questions like what it is, how does it work, and why does it actually matter? Join us as we explore this creative process to uncover some of the techniques behind crafting unforgettable melodies and discover how composers turn their ideas into sonic masterpieces. Please can I ask you to like this video, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so that you don't miss out on up-and-coming material and videos. This is a topic that resonates with anyone who has ever listened to music, written a song, composed for a few instruments, or tapped their feet to a beat. Now, at its core, music composition is the process of creating music. It's as simple as that. It involves bringing together various elements such as melody, harmony, rhythm, texture to craft a piece of music. But it's more than just putting notes on a page. It's about expressing emotions, telling stories, and connecting with your listeners. Now, to understand music composition, we first need to break down the fundamental elements that make up music. Composition element number one is melody. Now, if I had to ask you what is the melody of the Happy Birthday song or the Harry Potter theme, hopefully you all should know. So the melody is the main theme or the tune of a piece of music. It's basically what we hum or sing along to. The melody is also the horizontal aspect of a composition which pertains to the flow and development of musical lines over time from left to right. Now, a good melody sticks in your mind whether you like it or not. And that also symbolizes that there's an emotional connection to the music composition. So think about it. How often have you ever heard a song that instantly transported you back to a moment in your past, evoking the same feelings? You might find yourself getting a little teary-eyed or recalling familiar scents and experiences that resonate deeply within you. Now, that is the powerful emotional connection that you can experience with a simple melody. Composition element number two is harmony. Now, the harmony of a melody basically represents the vertical aspect of a composition, referring to the combination of different musical notes or instrument parts played or sung simultaneously. It involves building chords from the bottom up or vice versa to support and enrich the main melody line. Harmony adds depth and richness to the music. Composition element number three is the rhythm. This refers to the timing of the music. It's the beat or the pulse that keeps everything moving together. Now, rhythm can be steady or syncopated, which is slightly offbeat, fast or slow, and it plays a crucial role in shaping the overall feeling of a piece of music. Basically, without the rhythm, the melody and the harmony will have no drive. Rhythm gives music its pulse and its movement, helping to bring the melody and harmony to life. Now, composition element number four is the texture. Texture basically describes how many layers of sound are heard at once and how they interact. A piece of music can be monophonic, which is one melody, homophonic, which is a melody with an accompaniment, or polyphonic, which is multiple independent melody lines at the same time. The texture of a composition can either be identified as having a thin texture, where there are fewer instrumental parts playing at the same time, or a thick texture, where there are many instrumental parts or more instrumental parts playing at the same time. Composition element number five is form. What is form? This is basically the structure of a composition, determining how many sections are arranged from a straightforward verse-chorus format to a more intricate structures like a sonata form. Combinations can include repeating to contrast sections, such as an AAB form, or a contrasting sections like AB or a binary form, and sometimes material is revisited later on in a piece of music, as seen in the ABA ternary form. Now, these variations add depth and keep the music engaging. Now that we have a better idea of what the main elements of composition are, let's talk about the actual process of composing music. While it can vary greatly from composer to composer, there are some common steps in the process that all composers will use. Our first step in the process is inspiration. Every great piece of music or song starts from some form of inspiration. This could come from personal experience, nature, art, politics, activism, other cultures, or influences from pieces of music from other composers. And don't overlook physical books, scores, recordings, and also playlists that you might listen to over and over and over again. If you have an extensive music library like mine, filled with academic texts covering nearly every music-related topic, along with hundreds of musical scores, it's worth browsing those shelves sometimes and dusting off those books for inspiration that could actually spark your next composition. This also may involve some good old-fashioned research on a topic that you are passionate about. Our second second step in this process is idea sketching. So once you have an idea, the next step is really to sketch it out. This could be through writing down melodies, creating chord progressions, or even just recording your thoughts with a microphone by singing or playing a musical instrument. And step number 3 in this process is development. After you have your initial sketches, it's time to develop them. This phase involves refining your melodies, exploring different harmonies, maybe different chords, and experimenting with various rhythmic combinations. It's a creative exploration phase where you can try different directions. And sometimes you may revert to your original idea that you had in the beginning, while other times the final draft may differ totally from what you first had in your initial sketches. So it's important to recognize that there is no right or wrong way to approach this step, as every composer will work in a totally different way that suits their personal tastes. Now, this development stage also includes establishing the composition's structure, what we mentioned earlier on the form of the music, which involves organizing your developed ideas into coherent frameworks. So this means deciding on a form of a composition and how the different sections will flow into one another, allowing you to gain a glimpse of the bigger picture. Our fourth step in this process is refinement. Now, this stage is where you polish your composition. Listen critically over and over and over, adjusting, reworking some sections, and ensuring that every element, whether the harmony, the melody, the rhythm, and the texture, contributes to the overall impact and coherence of the whole composition. So when each section is thoughtfully integrated, the composition becomes a unified and expressive work of art. It's really about fine-tuning the details and making sure that everything fits together seamlessly. Our fifth step in the process is finalization. Now, finally, you'll prepare your piece of music for performance or for a recording. This may involve orchestration and arranging the composition for different instruments, writing out the parts to musicians, or producing a digital version as a demo reel for potential clients to listen to. Now that we have an idea of the process involved in composing a piece of music, we need to really give some thought to the technological tools that we have at our disposal to streamline our process of composition. And we know that in this modern world, technology has revolutionized how we consume and compose music. Digital audio workstations like Ableton Live, Logic Pro, Cubase, FL Studios enable composers to actually create, edit, and produce music with incredible ease from the comfort of their home. They offer tools for recording, mixing, and even using virtual instruments, making the process more accessible to everyone. This is particularly beneficial for composers who prefer to work without traditional notation, allowing for more intuitive and flexible approach to music composition and the creation process. There are also the composers who prefer to write out their music note for note, using music notation software such as Sibelius, MuseScore, Dorico. These tools offer the advantage of being able to hear the musical instruments they are actually writing for, which streamlines this process. Additionally, this approach facilitates easier sharing and collaboration with other musicians, which enhances the overall creative experience. One of the most frequently asked questions that I always get is, why study music theory? This truly amazes me because in other careers, for example, one would expect and take for granted that a medical professional has an extensive understanding of the human body. They acquire this knowledge from experience, from medical journals and studies, which provide foundation necessary for performing very serious procedures, non-serious and serious procedures. Now, in the same way, music theory provides composers and musicians with the essential tools to understand and navigate the complexities of music, enhancing their ability to actually create and perform more effectively. So while it is actually possible to create music and compose music without having a formal training, understanding music theory can be incredibly beneficial. Music theory provides the rules and the guidelines that govern how we create and interpret music. It helps composers really understand why certain combinations of notes work well together and how to create tension and resolution. For instance, knowing about chord progressions and how they function can really help composers create more compelling harmonies, which enhance the emotional impact of the music. Just like understanding scales, modes, and non-Western scale systems can inspire new melodies and ideas from other cultures. Another very, very important aspect of music composition is knowing how to compose in a variety of styles and genres, which really elevates a composer's chance of landing more work. However, most composers tend to have a favorite genre in which they excel, for which they actually become known. This focus often helps them cultivate a distinct voice and style, making their work stand out in a competitive landscape, while also gaining valuable skills from composing across various genres. Now, music composition can take many forms, depending on the genres or the styles. From classical symphonies to pop songs, jazz improvisation to film scores, each genre has its own conventions and techniques while sharing foundational characteristics. Here are a few of the most common genres and styles that composers may use. The first is classical composition, which is often characterized by structured forms and intricate harmonies. Classical music emphasizes melody, harmony, and orchestration. Composers like Beethoven and Mozart have set high standards for this genre. Now, jazz composition is characterized by structured improvisatory forms and rich harmonies, including seventh chords, tertian chords, and harmonies created from rich chord progressions. There's also a lot of orchestration in jazz composition because of jazz bands, and they're using a lot of the orchestral instruments in jazz bands. But one of the cornerstones of jazz music is improvisation, which allows musicians to express themselves spontaneously. Now, composers in this genre often create a framework for a piece of music while leaving room for individual interpretation, fostering a dynamic and a collaborative atmosphere in performances through improvisation. Now, this blend of structure and freedom is what makes jazz both complex and also deeply expressive. Now, film scoring and game music have their own unique challenges. The music's inspiration mainly comes from the visuals, aiming to enhance the emotional impact of the story. Now, this requires a solid understanding of both the music and storytelling and how to blend the two effectively. And of course, we cannot forget pop and rock music. Often focus on catchy melodies and relatable lyrics. Composition in pop and rock can be more straightforward, but requires a strong sense of hook and rhythm to really engage listeners. One of the most powerful aspects of any musical composition is its ability to evoke emotions. So whether it's a joy of a lively dance tune or a melancholy of a slow ballad, music has a unique way of touching your heart. Just like we mentioned earlier on, that hearing a melody that we heard 30 years ago can actually take us back into those emotions and those experiences the moment we hear that melody. So composers often draw from their own experiences and emotions when creating music. And this personal connection can really lead to authentic compositions that resonate deeply with the listeners. The use of dynamics, tempo changes, and instrumentation can also further enhance the emotional landscape of a piece of music. Now, music has had a profound impact on the medical field, particularly with the rise of music therapy in recent years, which is used to treat emotional, mental, and neurological conditions. This therapeutic approach involves using music from various genres to elicit responses from patients, facilitating emotional expression and connection. Music therapy can help reduce anxiety, improve mood, and enhance cognitive functioning, demonstrating the powerful interaction between music and healing. We cannot forget the sociological studies of music, which indicate that it can influence the masses and significantly shape the identities of entire societies and generations. As a sociological phenomenon, music has a major impact on the social, economic, and political levels. Now, let's briefly talk about those three areas that music can impact, as the social, economic, and the political. With social impact, music can actually shape cultural norms, social interactions, and community identities, fostering connections among individuals and groups. It can, in a way, blend a community as much as it can divide a community. On economic impact, music contributes to the various industries, entertainment industries, and every industry basically in the world, creating jobs and driving economic growth through events, sales, and merchandise, which is a big thing. Political impact, music often serves as a tool for political expression, mobilizing movements, shaping public opinion, and influencing political discourses. Now, the influence of music on society can both be positive and negative, which is beyond the scope of this episode. And I will be hosting a podcast dedicated to exploring the positive and negative aspects of music's impact on society. So keep an eye out for that. Music composition has evolved significantly over the centuries. It spans from the early days of the Gregorian chant to the elaborate compositions of the Baroque era, the refined structures of the classical period, and the emotionally charged works of the Romantic period. Today, contemporary music reflects a diverse range of styles and techniques, each contributing to its uniqueness and at the same time challenging the norms of past genres. Today, we see a blending of the genres really and influences leading to innovative compositions that defy characterization. Composers are experimenting with new sounds, technologies, and cultural influences, pushing the boundaries of what music can actually be. As we look at the future, there is no doubt that music composition will likely continue to challenge conventional norms. The rise of artificial intelligence in music creation raises questions about the role of human composers and controversial issues such as copyright. While AI can generate music, the emotional depth and personal touch that human composers bring are irreplaceable. Moreover, as technology advances, new tools will emerge, offering composers even more ways to create and share music. The accessibility of music production will continue continue to grow, allowing more people to express themselves through music without leaving the comfort of their homes. So let's recap. What is music composition? It's an intricate blend of artistry, emotional and technical. It's about crafting melodies and harmonies that resonate with the human experience. Whether you're an aspiring composer or simply a lover of music, understanding the process of composition can really deepen your appreciation for the art form. As we wrap up today's episode, I encourage you to explore your musical ideas. Whether you're playing instrument, write lyrics, or simply just enjoy listening to music, remember that music composition is a journey of creativity and self-expression. Thank you for joining me today on this journey, and I hope you found this exploration of music composition insightful. Until next time, keep creating and enjoying your music. Your support helps me to grow this channel and allows me to carry on making content like this. Thank you so much for watching. Have an amazing day.